Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming and the second episode of our SSF Tornado Shot playthrough. So in the first episode, I was really only just getting started in the campaign. I was like Act 3 or 4, level 28. So I thought I'd better bring out another episode before I get too far because I have played this character a lot. Probably completed like 100 maps now. So what I'll do is go through how I've transitioned to where the character is at the moment, what I look to target in terms of Atlas tree, gear, and that kind of thing. So we'll go over the character first. So the character is level 85. I'm on a 5-link chess piece, which I've only just found in Ritual. So I went well over 100 maps without finding a 5-link craft or enough fusings to get lucky to craft a 5-link. So when I left the campaign, my first goal was to rush to essences. So I took the essences here. The only detour I took was I went shrines here, and then I went shaping the mountains, and then I went and got all my essence nodes. Reason being is it's the easiest way in SSF to get your gear from pretty trash stuff that's in the campaign to fairly decent stuff that you're going to be able to get to sort of mid to late tier yellow maps with on a 5-link. Then what I'm looking to do now is go harvest, because the more good harvest crafts I can get stored up, the more chance of getting of crafting better gear. In terms of my priorities for gear, I'm looking to get ailment immune and spell suppress capped as soon as possible. Um, so to do that, I'm using any deafening essences of loathing I get on a pair of boots to try and get ailment avoidance and spell suppression, and then hopefully fluke on life or movement speed. Craft the one that's missing, and those boots will do me until I need to kind of really fine tune the build. And then equally, we need ailment avoidance and spell suppression on the chest. And I've got one cooking with Rog that's looking like it could be good. Now, I don't have the currency to finish it off, but the chest is medium tier life. It's got tier 2 spell suppression and decent cold resistance roll. And the last one that I can do is upgrade 2 modifiers by 1 tier. If that upgrades spell suppression, then this chest is probably going to be the one I'm going to craft on and try and 6-link to use for really most of the playthrough, I would think, until we're really swimming in currency where we can craft like end game items. The issue with the chest is it's got 3 prefixes, and I would need to be able to craft ailment avoidance on here. So it's either going to be a prefix to suffix if I can get it in bestiary. It's going to be a eldritch annulment with a 2 and 3 chance of removing something. If it removes the life, then it's kind of sort of bricked, other than re-rolling keep suffixes, which I'm not sure this chest is worth it. But essentially, that's what I'm looking to do. If the spell suppression upgrades to tier 1, then obviously we'll keep this as a crafting base. If it doesn't, I'll probably just try and farm an annul and YOLO one of the prefixes off, and that gives us the chest that we need. When combined with boots, that makes us ailment immune. I've taken lots of spell suppression nodes on the tree. So we've got the whole wheel here, and I've taken down here. So I only need a decent roll on the body armor, and then I'm good to go. I luckily managed to get spell suppression on my gear with the one currency that dropped. But realistically, these gems, these gloves aren't here to stay anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So in terms of progress, there's video footage rolling in the background of me 4-link gaming on Tornado Shot. Didn't feel great, but I just didn't want to mess around with changing skills around, so I thought I'll put up with it on a 4-link. And when I just went on and on and on and didn't get a 5-link, but was getting some decent essences, I ended up with a few essences of horror. I think I had 4 essences of horror. And actually, these on gloves do socketed gems have 3.5% crit chance. So that's a very, very good pseudo 5-link pair of gloves if you can get them 4-linked. So that's what I did. I moved my Tornado Shot setup into these gloves. Since then, I managed to find a 5-link in Ritual. So I've moved my Ballista Totem setup to the gloves to give them that extra crit chance. And then I've moved a 5-link into my chest. In terms of gear, it's all, I'll rush through it because it's all pretty rubbish. We have a bow with tier 3 cold and fire. It rolled a bit of attack speed and crit chance, so I crafted lightning on it. This will do me for quite a while. The helmet is not particularly good, but it's quite high life, and it's got a little bit of accuracy. The amulet I've had for a while. It's high life, but that's about it. It's like mediocre resistances, bad accuracy, and bad fire damage. The quiver I rolled with damage with bow skill essences. I didn't even know these existed because I've always glossed over these because everything says spell on them. So you get spell damage, energy shield. But then when you notice quiver, it's increased damage with bow skills. I've never noticed this before. So it's a new discovery for me. And that rolled me this quiver, which it hasn't got life because I've decided to craft lightning because my Trinity's a bit sketchy because my fire damage is quite high. But it's got prod speed, damage of bows, a little bit of resistance, some dex, and lightning damage. It could obviously be way, way better, but for someone who's doing like early to mid tier yellow maps, it's absolutely fine. This ring I need to replace. It's just bare bones, elemental resistances, and some cold damage and crafted life. The other ring I found in Syndicate is actually pretty decent because it's got strength on it, life, decent roll to all res, fire resistance, and I was managed to have an open prefix to craft LE damage at attack. So this ring I'll probably keep for quite a while. It is a decent ring. As I said, we've gone through the gloves with the crit chance on them. Just got a bog standard heavy belt to help with strength requirements. It's fairly high life, decent cold roll. If I start getting a lot more chaos and I decide to keep this belt, I'll re-roll that resistance to like the higher tier, which is 35%. And the boots I need to replace, they're really rubbish. I'm only using them because they've got 30% movement speed on them. And flasks, I've actually spent time crafting them being sensible. So we got a granite, jade, and diamond. And within these, I've got movement speed, evasion, and crit chance. So they all add something. They're all pretty decent. And at the moment, I'm using my essences to try and craft some better gear. So I have got 2 items that I want to put on my build, but I don't have the alchemies because I've spent them buying maps from Kirak to craft the life on them. So I've got a better pair of boots. It's 30% movement speed again, but much more resistances. And then we crafted this with crit multiplier essences. It's a shame it didn't land at least one good prefix, but this could be something that we either look to recombinate in the future or keep suffixes, reroll prefixes, because the suffixes are really good. It is tier 2 crit multi, which is with essences, tier 2 crit strike, and a fairly low tier all attributes, but that's still really helpful for the build because it's really starved for both intelligence and strength. So all I need is some alchemies, and I can get this gear onto here, and it will give me more DPS and more resistances. So what I think I'm going to do for this build to help people like keep track of the progress is probably bring out some sort of Word document diary that puts down the progress of each video, but also goals for each one. So that it's something that if someone else who's maybe not very experienced in SSF wanted to follow, they could just go through this step-by-step guide to know what they need to do in the campaign, what they need to do when they get to early maps, how to look to push to mid-tier, high-tier, you know, how to gear, what stuff's really important in SSF that's maybe overlooked in Trade League. Stuff like this probably not going to be ready for this video because it's going to take quite a lot of work. But hopefully by the time the next video comes out, I'll have something documented that I can link in the video description that people can use if they wanted to do something similar. Because I think the only problem with a playthrough like this is I've played quite a few SSF playthroughs. I've done a couple with bow builds as well. So I sort of know automatically where I'm going until I'm at least at red maps. It's almost sort of autopilot. Whereas I know a lot of people really struggle as soon as you get to maps because bow DPS can be really rough when you get to maps. And I just think it might help people that want to give it a go but don't really know where to start. So the next video will come out, I would think, 2 to 3 days' time. I'm hoping by then we've got the Rog chest finished. We've hopefully got our ailment boots and our gloves so that we're spell suppression cap and ailment immune. I'm more bothered about that than DPS at the moment because essence mobs are a pain. Every time you open one, literally they're going to put some sort of ailment on you. Same with strong boxes. I don't have freeze immune at the moment, so I can't really go specking into strong boxes. Then I'll look to add the DPS in once we get the defenses sorted out on the build. So what I'll do, I'll just run a really quick map showcase. I'm totally out of alchemies and totally out of binding orbs, so I've had to put a layer in that's magic. But in SSF, to be honest, until you get your currency up, you're not going to be alching every map. You're saving your alchemy orbs and your chisels for maps that are the highest tier. This tier is a 6, so I've got tier 8, so I don't need to out this up. I've already done it for completion. So we'll just quickly run through and show the build in action. I will say on a 4 link, it felt a bit rough. Normal mobs are absolutely fine, but there's a lot of Arch Nemesis mobs that can cause problems for a 4 link bow build. But now I've got a 5 link and I've got my ballistas in the gloves. It feels a lot better. We'll go and do it now because I don't think I've done any yet. In fact, I don't remember seeing her in my maps, which is a bit weird because I've done quite a lot. Yet Sentinel is a pain in the ass with because I think they're the ones that block 50% of your damage. So we should be able to bleed. We should get a stone from someone, I guess. There we go. I should really look at these. I'm so bad at running temples. I just literally hit the nearest door every single time. Actually, that one really didn't matter. We already had passes into both. I keep getting chunked, and it happens quite a lot. I have no idea what hits me half the time. Like, there was a bear swinging at me, but he was a country mile away from me, I think. Is that Sentinel again? That's the one bad thing about the Headhunter changes, is it kind of screws over non-Headhunter builds. Because you're going to get lots of mods that are normally, or were, fairly rare, and they're now not. Gargantuan is all the time, literally all the time for essence monsters. Oh, and this is 3 mods, brilliant. But I don't even know what half these do. I like the new mods. I hate the way that you have to literally look up on a database to see what they do, though. Like, I have no idea what Splinter does. I'm assuming it's some sort of reflect, but not got a clue. Bonebreaker, that again looked like it was some sort of block because that monster was super tanky. I mean, I guess eventually we're going to know what they do from experience. I just can't be bothered to learn all that. Union of Souls is again super, super common and annoying when you don't have any DPS. Have I picked up anything, or are there no doors to unlock? There are doors to unlock. Cool. So this is a longer one than expected, but in SSF it's kind of just showing that you do want to do the majority of the content that you come across in your maps. Like, especially Temple. Temple is going to be super good with recombinators, because you're going to want all the gear with, like, the Temple mod, Life, the glove mods and everything. They're going to come in handy. Right, so that's Alva sorted out. So I'll whiz through the rest of the map. So actually, I need wisdom scrolls, because I'm conscious this map is taking forever. So we'll let's put Sentinel on. Actually, we haven't activated that. Which is because I've got a Scarab Sentinel on at the moment. I just don't feel that it ever gives Scarabs, which is a bit rubbish. That's a 5-link chest, and that unique isn't actually that bad. It's not as good as the rare chest I've got, but if that could have dropped earlier, it would have been much better. There we go, we've got Scarab. We have to be careful here, because we do not want to empower the boss. Good. We got rid of the Sentinel. Cool. You see, the single target is... I cannot believe how quickly he transformed into that dog then. Okay, right, done. So single target is pretty bad, even on a 5-link. That wasn't the chest I was thinking of. That's actually a terrible chest. I mean, you can't be chilled, but other than that, pretty bad. Well, I'm level 75. We'll keep that. So yeah, that is the very, very stupidly long map showcase. I hope you join me for the next one. It will get more interesting and the build will get better, I hope. But as always, take care and see you in the next one.